So our next guest is Rajeev Kapur, who's the Chief Revenue Officer of Altametrics. Rajeev?
Hello, Rob.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And I think this is your first FSTEC?
It is my first FSTEC.
Your first
It's been great so far.
So we've met before, actually, in other lives.
That's right.
And of course, Mitesh, has been a big supporter of FSTEC over the years. But you're new. You're new to this industry. You're new to Altametrics. So what's your first impression?
Yeah, to me, this is an exciting industry. It's growing. It's new. So whenever anything is new, you always have a lot of excitement. There's a lot of opportunity. I was a hardware guy for a long time. I was an executive at Dell and did a lot of other things, a lot of other industries. And to be able to come to this industry really kind of checked off a couple of boxes that I was looking for in my new opportunity file. And one of them was, is it software? Is it cloud-based? And Altametrics checked that box. Is focused on analytics, and does it really help provide a better customer experience? Check that box. And is there mobile opportunities? And check that box. So it kind of checked all three of the boxes that I was kind of looking for, and it also happened to be a 5-mile commute, not a 5,000-mile commute for me, so that was perfect.
It's not bad that it's the food service industry either, right?
No, not at all. It's great.
Well, listen, so welcome to the industry. So just out of curiosity, with your experience coming from hardware and coming from some other industries, are there some learnings that you are bringing with you or some immediate observations of opportunities that we have?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the thing that whether it was in the audio industry or it was when I was at Dell or wherever I was, at the end of the day, it's all about enabling an amazing customer experience. And it's what we're trying to do, what my colleagues are trying to do. It's just, how do we go and enable technology to go out there and provide that customer experience? And I tell people we're not enterprise software. The business we're in is just finding a way to enable this awesome customer experience. And I was telling a story last night at dinner that every Saturday I'll go to a corner bakery right near my house, and I'm going to be in line to get the first Apple Watch when it comes out. But imagine in about 12 to 24 months, the watch will know when I wake up. It'll know what time I'm getting ready to leave the house. It'll be able to communicate with the corner bakery app to tell them, oh, I'm coming. It'll also know that Rajeev gets the egg white power panini thin, so we better have it ready, and I can be able to pay right there. So talk about line busting, that's great.
So, of course, we have the CIO of Corner Bakery here today. So I'm glad you just gave him his vision and his plan. Or did you get that from him?
Well, we talked earlier, but I don't think we talked about that.
You didn't talk about that. But that actually brings us into some interesting areas of mobility. But you're actually talking about mobility more to the wearable side. What we traditionally think of mobility, we think about the smart device, we think about the phone, the tablet. So you actually clearly think that in 12 to 24 months, we will start to see these applications integrated? Oh
yeah, absolutely. Even on, I think when I was doing my research on the industry, I think a lot of folks a couple of years ago thought there was going to be iPads everywhere. And it didn't happen right away, but now you're starting to see it happen more and more and more. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just a matter of time. I think the millennial generation, as we heard earlier today, they're going to demand it. People are going to, employees are going to have BYOD, so my kids are assigned iPads now in school. And we were worried that they're going to break, they might disappear, but they take care of those iPads more than they take care of anything else. Mm-hmm. And I think you're going to see that on the employee side as well, that they take care of their devices.
Well, it seems that in every generation of equipment, hardware, software, things sort of skip based on timing. And so I sort of look at this and I say it's probably going to be the phablets, more than the full pads. I mean, it just seems like the smartphones, are getting larger. There gets to be a certain size, but if we're trying to look at something universal, it sounds like even with the vendors that are here that are selling hardware, that there's really a question of, is it, a 5-inch, is it smaller, is it larger,
Yeah, I think that'll be a matter of choice by the different folks in the room. But the reason why I think the phablets, to your point, and I agree with you 100%, I think why phablets will be the dominant platform is because of connectivity. There's only so much bandwidth you can have in a restaurant. There's only so much bandwidth you can have. So you have to have that connectivity. And if it's a phablet, you can use a cellular network and you can upload your information, download your information, find out what's happening at any given time, whether it's using our BI suite, whether it's understanding food and labor costs, whatever it might be, you'll have real-time information. You can do that with a phablet. It's hard to do that with a tablet just because of connectivity and bandwidth issues.
No, Altametrics is not in the hardware business.
No, we're not. We're pretty hardware agnostic. You know, we partner with some of the folks here, and you know, we are.
But you've started. Okay, so you've started bringing. So you're the chief revenue officer. So I'm actually sort of curious. Is that a fancy name for sales or what? But or is it strategy? I'm not sure.
Well, you know, it's a good question. So you know, when Mitesh, you know, I've known Mitesh and the group at Altametrics for quite some time, and you know, we were talking about, you know, how do we grow the business and how do we strategic look at technology, how do we look at all these things in the future? And really my charter is really to work with our customer base, work with our customer experience teams. Sales is absolutely a big portion of it, make no mistake about that. But the real charter is how do we continue to grow the business? And the business has been growing phenomenally fast over the last few years. And how do we just keep that momentum going? And how do we look at the future? How do we understand what the customers in the room want? And more importantly, how do we understand what their guests want? And how
so you can't be everything to everybody either. So the question is, where are you driving the focus based on your industry knowledge, your initial discussions coming into Altametrics? Where do you see the main focus areas are that you're going to then enable these technologies?
So really at the end of the day, the one key area you've seen and you've heard from others today, and Jay talked about it earlier as well, which is you focus on this area of business intelligence. We're able to provide this phenomenal business intelligence tool. And you know, content is king, data is even better. And it's not just about business intelligence anymore. The word I like to use is actionable intelligence. Yeah, the business intelligence is telling you something, but how can you not take action with it? Ultimately, my vision is there should be no more CIOs, and I don't mean that literally, so it shouldn't be the chief information officer, it should be the chief intelligence officer. It's how do the folks that are focusing on primarily information, how do you now take that and turn that into more intelligence to allow, whether it's marketing, guest services, whatever it might be, to take action to grow top line, to grow bottom line.
It is actually sort of interesting where titles go, because I've seen some chief information officers actually be called chief intelligence officers, but I've also seen the word strategy, you know, crop up in there. That, and of course you have the PMO office and things. You know, but it seems like there is a shifting role. And are you seeing that amongst your customers as well? Are they partnering with you, and you see that shifting role, and you're working together in that?
Oh yeah, every day. You know, I've been in the industry now just for a few weeks, and I've had a chance to speak to some great people already. And more you can see the focus on how IT and how the store operations folks become more strategic operations, how IT becomes more strategic IT. So you're seeing more and more that stuff happening. And to me, it was a lot like back in the 90s when Fortune 500 companies woke up and said, you know what, we need to turn our legal departments into profit centers. Mm-hmm. So now I think you're starting to see that right now, is how do we turn our IT departments into centers where enable and enhance growth.
So you came into this, you got your 5-mile commute, I got that one, but you are in California, one of the great states, and great for restaurant operations as well. And I know that you guys really focus on the labor side, you focus on the labor cost side. You know, how do you see your role being in helping to shape how we work with labor in the industry with so many things, moving parts and pieces going on? How do you stay on top of that? How do you do that?
You know, that's a great question. You know, so part of this is, you know, California is probably the toughest state in the nation to do business from that perspective. But what we're seeing right now is that whether the folks in this room or not even in this room, not even in this industry, are getting hit with labor law violations. And so we just read the other day that LinkedIn, for example, got hit with a labor law violation. You know, we're starting to see more and more of these industries, everybody's starting to get hit with these types of things. And so what we're able to do with our labor scheduler, our labor forecasters, all those types of things has been great. But even then, building on top of that, our new products, the eSmart Clock, those solutions, I know Corner Bakery, for example, is rolling that out. It's going to really enable to really help folks. You know, what I tell people is, look, we can't tell you you're not going to get sued or you're not going to have problems. We can help you minimize any issue that you might have. We can provide the data, the intelligence for you to make sure that you've done everything you can to protect yourself and your business.
And the other side of the coin, so labor is clearly a key focus area for you. Are there some other key focus areas? I think the back office, the inventory, the scheduling. Yeah,
you know, the back office, all the things that Altametrics is known for is all there. You know, the forecasting piece, the food cost piece are areas we continue to look to innovate. You know, whether it's continue to innovate and build upon what we're able to do with weather, for example, whether it's looking at specific events. We talk about social.
But what are you doing with weather? Are you bringing in a feed into that, or?
Yeah, you know, it's been around now for a little while. I think most people know about this. But what we partner with SAIC, we partner with Wendy's and some others, and essentially what we were able to do was we were able to bring in weather. So, for example, if you were in the Northeast and you get hit with a lot of snow, our tool will be able to tell you, well, this is what the weather forecast looks like, this is how you should adjust your forecast, and we're seeing, phenomenal accuracy in that space. So, or, you have, if, for example, I know there's some flash flooding happening, like in the Phoenix area, if you're a store manager, you'll be able to go there and adjust right away, that some, on the fly, fix and adjust these things and adjust your forecast. And that all helps from a cost perspective.
In the last week I talked to a pizza operator who has generators in their restaurants, and they actually track in their local neighborhoods when the power goes out. And then they send text messages and email to the customers saying, we're open, come hang with us. It's a very interesting thing. So thank you very much for joining us this morning on the stage. And
my pleasure.
Welcome to the industry at FSTEC.
Thank you.
Thank you.